Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Real Bizarre. There are plenty of things that we don't know about our own brain. So in this video, we'll talk about 10 mind-blowing facts about the brain. The brain feels no pain. There are no pain receptors in the brain. That's why surgeons can perform brain surgery on a patient while they're still awake. This helps them ensure that the delicate procedure doesn't screw up any vision or motor control functions. And also it looks really freaky. Why do we feel pain? Because a nociceptor, a sensory receptor, sends signals to the spinal cord and brain alerting us to danger. Couldn't they just send a card? There are also 100 billion neurons that comprise the brain, as many as the entire galaxy, all in a squishy mass about the size of a cantaloupe. Using about 17% of your body's energy and 20% of its oxygen, while only containing 2% of its mass, the brain produces between 10 to 23 watts of power when awake, enough to light a bulb. Made of 75% water, your noodle has over 100 trillion synapses that connect those neurons and enough space to hold the entire Encyclopedia Britannica fivefold, or 1000 terabytes of information. And the Cheech and Chong myth isn't true. You do use your entire brain, even when high. When Albert Einstein died in 1955, they didn't just save a lock of his crazy white hair, they carved out his whole melon. Dr. Thomas Harvey performed the brainectomy a mere 7.5 hours after Einstein's death, purportedly for scientific research. Then it vanished. It wasn't until 1978 that an intrepid journalist named Stephen Levy tracked down Dr. Harvey in Kansas, where the good doctor admitted he still has the brain sliced in 240 pieces and bobbing into mason jars filled with formaldehyde. The brain is split up in two symmetrical hemispheres. While they do work together, the left brain favors more rational, analytical thinking, while the right is more visually and conceptually oriented. They also work in opposites. You stub your left toe and the pain is processed on the right side, and they put right side up whatever is upside down. The image in your eyes is actually received inverted and the brain corrects it. But here's the really weird thing. Even if you were to lose one half of your brain, you'd be able to survive without it. Well, maybe that's not so weird. Look at all those politicians. Sorry lady, men's brains are 10% bigger. So there you go, concrete proof that men are smarter than women. But before you go patting yourselves on the back, dudes, know that although women's brains are smaller, they have more nerve cells and connectors that work more efficiently than men's. And true to the stereotype, they tend to process on the more emotional right side of the brain, while men process on the logical left. Also, an area known as the straight gyrus, responsible for nurturing feminine traits, is proportionally larger in women. Nighttime is the right time for your brain to process all the activity that has occurred during the day. That's why scientists think we dream. No one's really sure why. Some believe it's a way to process the complex emotions and interactions in our daily lives. Others think it's just a way to zero out information, much like a computer. A recent study showed it may help us alleviate trauma. People with higher IQs tend to dream more, and a nap during the day has proven to make people more energized and focused on their work. Tell that to your boss. It turns out there's something called lucid dreaming, where a person could control the outcome of a dream while in a sleep-like state. It has its roots in ancient Tibetan Buddhism, where aspirants would practice dream yoga, doing incredible feats of dexterity during sleep, reminding themselves of the illusory nature of existence. Nowadays, lucid dreaming has a lot of potential, not only allowing you to conquer your nightmares, but also finally have sex with the girl next door. True laughter is involuntary, that's why the milk comes gushing out your nose. Only human beings are born with this ability. A laughing hyena is not really laughing. And while true laughter is contagious, it's also something not easily faked. But why do we laugh? It's not because of jokes. Over a 10-year period, one doctor studied 2,000 laugh-inducing situations and discovered that most of the time a guffaw was not the result of a punchline. Maybe someday we'll understand why we're ticklish too. Research has been mixed on the subject of brain size and intelligence. Albert Einstein's brain was only 1 kilo 230 grams, while the average adult male brain weighs 1 kilo 400 grams. Another study shows that the bigger the person's head, the smarter they are, while those with pointer heads show less intelligence. That can be true. Ung-yong already understood algebra at 8 months old. By the time he was 2, he was fluent in 4 languages. He began attending university at 4 and graduated at 15. But Ung-yong isn't just a smarty pants, he's also a gifted painter and poet. Nowadays, he lives in South Korea and presumably has time to do all the things he never had a chance to do, like have a childhood. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.